Hello, welcome again, everyone. We are in our monthly oneness conversations, and we are blessed to be in the amazing month of November. And today we're going to be talking about thank God. So much to be thankful for. Here in the US, of course, we have Thanksgiving coming up this week. If you're in other parts of the world, there's always a reason to be thankful anyway. So we're going to enjoy our conversation today. If you haven't seen me yet, my name is Kim Lyday. I am a holistic healing coach and music therapist. Happy to be part of this circle, and I'm going to introduce Judith, our fearless leader, to us, our grandmother of wisdom, and take it away, Judith.
Well, thank you so much, Kim. And I'm really blessed to meet with you folks every month. I believe we started back in September. And as Kim was talking about who she is and what she's up to, I'm actually Judith Ann King Matheson, a Celtic Irish Scottish grandmother who was blessed to be born in the land of the rising sun along the Atlantic Ocean in St. John, New Brunswick. But now I'm being blessed to have this conversation on a monthly basis called Oneness Conversations to inspire each other's hearts. And so today I've been blessed to be living in the Algonquin Anishinaabe heart of Canadian democracy and their territory, on which I've been very blessed to be living for many, many decades. So as an elder that knows that wisdom only comes if we keep learning, I am an actual holistic teacher trained in the ministry of spiritual listening, and at a deep level have been very blessed to be sitting in the circles of Indigenous people for many, many years. And by being in those circles, have been blessed to listen to the wisdom of the ancestors, who people have been here since time immemorial, whose voices are coming through the Algonquin Indigenous grandmothers and elders and grandfathers. And we're living in these times where the theme today is so, so important. So first of all, I'd like to give gratitude for the Indigenous people all over the planet who have been passing on to us their wisdom for many, many decades now. And their voices of silence are now becoming very much needed for our planet and for we as universal human citizens, all of one family, who are beginning to awaken and open our minds, to open our hearts. So I just want to thank you all for being here today, and to know that many conversations have been taking place on the website OWL, which stands for Rootway Wellness Learning, because I'm living in the province of Quebec, right across from the province of Ontario. And that is where the sacred democracy of Canada is unfolding as more leaders from all walks of life share in conversations of the heart. And so thank you all for coming and joining us in the times of each monthly conversations. As Kim says, today's theme is give thanks to God. Give thanks. And this is a powerful time, even though we're going through great challenges, to begin to see that in the challenges is the ability to rise up and give thanks to the universe, the whole world that's coming together now to begin to see the best in each other. So I hope today will touch your heart. And I'd like to have Kim, who has just opened us, also begin to see that next to her is our co-partner with the Flying Grandmother today, and that is Joey. And Joey, I'd like you to introduce you and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're up to. Thanks, Joey.
Yeah, hello again, everybody. I'm Joey. I'm an emotional healing practitioner. My website is infinite-self.com, and I want to collaborate with other self-explorers. I think a lot of us out here have things internally that we want to explore about ourselves, and continually recreate new versions of who we are by resolving things of the past that no longer serve us. So I've been doing different natural healing modalities for over the last decade. Just because I became a nerd about it. I just absolutely enjoyed all the different ways to do self-exploration, and found some that helped me the most personally, as well as people that were in my communities. So that's what I share now today is getting people back into their body, becoming best friends with their body, and using that as a resource, as a compass to guide you on your path. So I always love having these monthly conversations. For Judith's website, it's utawaywellnesslearning.com. It's OUTAOUAIS wellnesslearning.com. And we also have all these monthly meetings on YouTube saved on there as well. So you can go to previous months, and we meet every month. So I'm happy to be here with y'all again.
Well, thank you so much, Joey and Chimigwich and merci, and thank you to all of you as we link our minds and hearts today in giving thanks to God. And today I'd like to invite perhaps Kim to open us our minds and our hearts as we begin to listen in prayer to the deepest of what's inside ourselves. And I would take a moment before I invite Kim to speak to simply invite all of us to go into the silence of the quietness of our own minds, to touch the depth of who we are deep within ourselves. And that is the energy that yearns to express itself. So I'd like to close your minds and hearts in a good way by simply turning off your pictures if you can for a moment, and we'll just seemingly go into the silence to see if we can stay centered and rooted and grounded, as Joey was talking about, to begin to listen more clearly, to have spirit, the laws of the universe, our energy, and calling us to integrate as one humanity on these wonderful times of both challenge and change, but the rising up of the best inside ourselves. So let's just take a moment in silence to connect with one another right now. So loving Creator, we give gratitude and thanks for this beautiful earth in which we're blessed to learn, to grow, to heal, to change, and to address the traumas and changes happening all over the planet in these times. May we be a presence in each new day to hold space for what is the best inside ourselves, the energy of a loving force that yearns to express through us the power of the energy of light and love, an energy that touches us deeply to know we are not alone. We need to be in a time and space through the pain and trauma to breathe, to be in nature, to hold hands, to open our minds and hearts, to see that if we see in our neighbor, we could not see unless it was in ourselves. It is in through the pain and the trauma that we are awakening in these times for all future generations to see that we indeed are the ones we have come to meet. We are the ones we have been waiting for. And so it is. We give thanks. So thank you all as we come slowly back into this grounded space of Mother Earth. And again, open our minds and our photos to see the real truth that's inside ourselves. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Chigwigwich, everyone. And Kim, would you like to open us today to share a little bit of what your month has been looking like around the theme, give thanks to God.
That was so beautiful, Judith. I just want to thank you first for inviting us to take that moment to come into that quiet space. Because I know for myself, I don't do that often enough. So I just want to thank you for kind of, I don't want to say forcing, but really creating the space for us to be able to just do that together for a moment, just for one time this month. It was so beautiful.
Thank you.
So let's see, this past month for me, really a lot to be thankful for. I have been doing this new thing. It's funny that you kind of opened with that process because I've committed to doing a daily, like a morning meditation. Um, it's a little bit of a cross between meditation and a little bit of energy work where I'm working with the heart chakra. So I've been doing this every day. I don't always have the time in the morning, and if that happens, I make time like later on somewhere where I can just take a moment to breathe. And I've been really seeing a change in my mood, my outlook. and really feeling connected. I tend to do this when I go for morning walks 3 days a week on the trail. And I do it particularly while I'm walking. I'll listen to these recordings and kind of get in touch. And those days I've noticed they just feel like better days. Even if I have a lot going on those days and I'm really busy or running around, those days it's like I feel like I have something to look forward to. The days that I don't walk, it's like I'm kind of wishing like, oh, I wish I could get back to the trail today. It's like it's become this it's like feeding, nourishing my soul. It's like feeding me. So that's what's been happening with me. And I would highly encourage everyone to even take, 5 minutes if you can to just do a little prayer, a little process like that, because it's so, so powerful. I've heard about other people doing it, of course. So it's something we know. It's something that we've heard is good for us, but until you actually do it and you try it yourself, you're not going to understand the benefits. So that's my tip for this month. Just go inside, feel that heart space for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever you can. And it's going to be just a beautiful, it's going to be a more beautiful day. Yeah. You're muted, Judith.
That was beautiful, Kim. Thank you so much for sharing how important it is, our connection to the land and to walking. It's kind of like we're reclaiming our relationship with ourselves. And in nature is the beauty of what's really in all of us, because we come from nature, we come from spirit. So thank you so much for that beautiful message of how you're walking the talk of spirituality. And Joey, could you share some of what your last month has been like?
Yeah, Kim, you're kind of reminding me of the importance of slowness, presence, and like selfishness in a good way of doing those things that you know are nourishing for yourself. Um, and this year, for the first time, and here in the States, Thanksgiving isn't until next week, and or is it this weekend? This week. Usually, I'm always traveling to go see my family because they live in a different state than I do, and this is the first year that I'm not doing that. So I have this interesting like sadness on one side that I know I'm going to miss all the people that I've seen this time of the year for most of my life. Um, and I've been out of the state for over 10 years now. And so I've always made that trip and that energy into moving that direction to go see them. This is the first year it's not happening. So I have part of that sadness, but then there's also like this freedom that it's also fulfilling me in a new way. Where yes, I'm going to miss my family. And at the same time, I'm exchanging it for time with myself or time with other people that I don't usually get to share this holiday with, I guess. Um, so it has a sense of like the freedom that I wasn't sure that I would experience, and it feels kind of enlivening at the same time. So I'm really enjoying that. I've been traveling in some other ways. Like I mentioned in some of the previous calls, there's been some interesting, difficult relationship scenarios that have been happening around me. But I think it's really shown me how thankful I am of those difficult situations that have been in other people's lives, that have kind of been in my life as well because of relationships. But I see this inherent role where people appreciate my opinion. It's kind of confronting in a little way of how many people want to talk with me about these difficult situations and be in that counseling kind of hat. Um, in terms of my personal relationships, where before it wasn't really that way. So it's kind of happening all at the same time. And each of them, as difficult as they were or still are, have provided me information and learning that was able to apply now today to a different part of those difficult relationships that are completely separate. So there's like so many lines of connection between them that I'm able to see that just makes me feel grateful of like, yes, this is sort of exhausting, but also I've spent a lot of work over this decade with the natural medicine of finding tools and ways to um, tap into my body to know when I might be giving too much and not giving enough to myself. and playing with that balance in a new way that I wasn't able to before. So I feel really grateful of the tools that I've gained along this time frame. And I think in the past, I normally would have seen these difficult situations in like kind of a self-martyr type of perspective, and given myself so much that I hurt myself, and then all those things that come around it. And I feel so much more clear around this in a way that I never expected. So it's been pretty beautiful, and I guess I'm thankful for that overall, of the missing that I have from my family of not being there, and at the same time, what I'm gaining because I'm not. And then also just being blessed by these very difficult situations that have taught me a lot and given me a lot of resources for the future that I know I can use to help myself and other people, because their difficulties showed me so much about us being humans when we're emotionally pained, and what that can be like, and to take life a little less seriously, and find some ways to be a bit more productive with our pain, and find resolutions and have good endings, so that people can have good beginnings and make new chapters in their life.
So that's so beautiful. Thank you, Joey, because what you're talking about to me is the two B's of life, other than my beautiful husband, Bob, who many of you are aware made transition last fall. When I look at the B's of life, I look at balance and boundaries. And as a recent widow going through pain and trauma, it's been a year of going deeper. And what we see in life is we are all going through great change. And in change is the opportunity for growth. But also in change is grief. So anytime that something changes, like not as a normal rule seeing your family this month, but seeing it as a grief process, that something is changing. And it leaves us with an opportunity to begin to understand that family is everywhere. Family is friends and companions and people that need our presence because of who we are, that have been working on the path of healing ourselves. Socrates was a very ancient, as we know, wise man, as was Plato. But before him, there were ancient beings that taught us to do something that's very important for these times. And the psalmist wrote a very, very important message years and years and years and thousands of years ago that said, physician, be still. Be still and know thyself. Physician, heal thyself. So in the journey of life, when we're being called to be present to another human being that's in pain and trauma, it's a gift from the universe. It's a gift from that person's soul that trusts us enough to be present to hold space for them in a good way, that we're actually holding space for each other. And so as we begin to see that we can go beyond the boundaries of what used to be what's normal behavior for us, seeing our families every month or every year, we're very blessed to come from families we want to be with. And how wonderful it is to come from families where we've been blessed to not suffer too much trauma in the journey of life, but to know what it is like to be family. So I think those of us in this call who might come from a background where we were blessed to have nurturing as babies can be a nurturing presence now for ourselves, because we're the children inside, the wounded child. And it's time to embrace and hug ourselves and have that holy space, that sacred space, to nurture our own selves so that we can be a better presence every day for each other. And for strangers that simply need someone to be present to them in a new way, where they feel the presence of love. And that's what we're talking about today. We're giving thanks for the power of love. And we call it many names. We call it divine, divinity. We call it many things, such as the universe within and the universe without. And so we've seen for thousands and thousands of years, humanity's always searched for the same thing, because we want the same thing. We want to feel the energy of love. So this journey of the head to the heart, to begin to experience our own pain, but in that pain to have the compassion, to be present to the pain in a way we begin to discover that there's energy inside ourselves that seeks and yearns to express who we really are as spiritual beings, beautiful souls on a planet, waking up to the best inside each other. So I'd like to continue this wonderful journey of doing this work of gathering on a monthly basis to share What was significant for me this month was to have cataract operations on my two beautiful eyes and to begin to see I have a different vision now. Not just a vision of seeing more clearly, but a vision of seeing the world in a new way. A world that's yearning for all of us to see that in the darkness is the light coming through. So let's keep building on that, building on what we've discovered this month about ourselves, that as in much pain as I have, I also am learning to have more compassion for the grief process of rising up to begin to tap into the joy of living and how blessed I am and to live in gratitude. So the grief process is unique for all of us. And we'll always get to that point where there's a polarity that's wanting to break through. So as we continue this conversation, Kim, how about in every new day, the new sun is breaking through? How does that speak to you as a beautiful mother with a beautiful child that to me are the greatest teachers?
She's definitely a great teacher. It's for sure. And she's I feel like I've mentioned this before, I must have, but she's the one that I have always told her that the number one life lesson, like if I can't teach her anything else, if something, God forbid happens to me, I told her, here's the one thing you need to remember. Love is the most important thing. That's it. That's it. I don't care what else you learn in life. If you just remember that one thing, there's nothing more important than love, because love heals others, love heals yourself, love overcomes all. I mean, there's songs about it. All you need is love, right? It's like, that's really it. It's so simple, but that's really it. And she is a teacher to me to be that example of love each and every day. Because especially, I'm sure there's parents out there who might be listening who know it's not always easy to show that love to a child 24/7 all the time, right? They push your buttons sometimes they don't listen the way we want them to or the way we expect them to, because they're exploring and they're learning about their own journey through life. So as parents, we have to learn how to be compassionate and show that love no matter what's happening, and to not just show the love, but be the love, actually feel it in your heart and soul. And that's where I go back to that moment of being quiet, because lots of times my mind takes over and I'm thinking, okay, we should be doing XYZ, or let's hurry up, we got to get out the door for school. Do you have your backpack? Do you have your drink? Do you have your this? Do you have your that? And I'm going through the checklist, and meanwhile she's just like, well, can I play? And I'm like, no, you can't play. We have 5 minutes to get out the door. What are you doing? So, but being able to respond to that, her question of can we play, and remembering, like, she's experiencing the joy and the wonder of being in kindergarten. So school is very exciting to her. Life is very exciting to her. She still has that the wonder when she looks around and sees her perception of the world as one of wonder and awe, and how is this working, and look at all the things, and oh my gosh, and the people. She makes friends everywhere she goes. And I just look at her and I'm like, how do you do that? She goes up to people on the playground, just never seen them before, and she's like, hey, do you want to play? And then she has best friends and they're playing together. I'm like, I wish I could have done that when I was your age. So absolutely. One of the best teachers, if you ever see a child, I mean, just watch them, even if they're not yours, I mean, don't be a creeper, but watch and observe. Just observe how they interact with each other, how they interact with themselves. If you observe that wonderment, it's bound to teach you something, whether you have a child or not. I mean, they're just so special. I could go on and on, but I'll stop myself. I'll stop myself so that you guys get a chance to share some more as well.
Well, thank you so much, because you're sharing the joy and wonder of our own little children coming out to play. And there's a saying that as people get older, sometimes they become like little children. And I really do believe the joy of getting older is I can begin to live the joy of everyday life, being like that little child. that can talk to complete strangers. And in the zest of living, honoring that as we get older, we really value life in a whole different way. And in sharing the stories, you're reminding me of being a mother. We don't know what we're doing. Nobody gave us a book, but the little children help us to write the chapters in our own story because they're really teaching us to remember who we are, for the zest of life, for the love of life. Despite the challenges we're going through, they can help us to slow down and in pain and trauma. Sometimes they can help.
Judith, I think we lost you there.
You're going in and out a
And
little
up
bit.
for the little children to come onto.
Judith, if it might help if you are able to stop your video. I don't know if it's a bandwidth issue, but oh, you're gone. Okay. Oh, there you are.
There you go.
There
Try
you are.
talking again.
I'm just having some challenges. I see that I'm disappearing from time to time. And so when I do, what I would like to do is just pass the torch on to Joy, the next speaker, to fill the gap, because it looks like I'm having some communication issues with my technology today. So Joey, could you build on what we're talking about, being as little children and to play as little children and have fun and zest for life right now, to bring that
Yeah,
home?
yeah, totally. I think children can teach us a lot of things about playfulness, um, having a joy and curiosity for life. And I think it's more accessible than we might think. Um, that like really we're a soul in a body, and yes, the body has aged, but it doesn't necessarily mean we need to subscribe to what our culture tags on to what age is. And that we always have the power to kind of rediscover ourselves and interact with life in whatever ways feel good to us. And so like in my time going through Naropa, that was kind of some of the stuff that we dabbled in and did experientials on, was like playful psychology or play psychology. I forgot exactly what it's called, but essentially it's like the study and understanding of what it means to have more playfulness in your life and to explore those things with other people. Um, because I think it really kind of starts to disrupt what we believe we're supposed to be as an adult, how we're supposed to interact with people, how we're supposed to be in relationships, all of these shoulds. And that's one of the things my meditation teacher would often say is don't should all over yourself, because we often layer all of these shoulds of what we should do. And like in your example, Kim, with your little girl, she wanted, can we play? Like it had nothing to do with the shoulds. It was more of like, I feel this inclination to want to play. Why can't we play right now? And so I think it's that balance between, you know, being adults and getting the things done, and then also allowing ourselves to play. And I think exactly what Kim was speaking about, of choosing to do this new behavior in her life, to go on these walks and do these things, that is a version of play. You have this free space, this open space to explore in whatever way you want to, that allows yourself to connect with yourself. And so I really think there's a lot of importance that children can teach us in that. I've had some newer experiences with being an uncle. Again, I'm in a different state than them, so I don't get a lot of one-on-one time. She just turned 1 year old, and I know now she's officially walking around and being a toddler. So that's part of the pain I feel also of not going back, is I'm not going to have that time with her. But I also get lots of videos and photos and stuff that informs me about who she is, and I'm just so excited to get more time to do that. But about a month ago, when I did get to see her, I think she was about a little over 6 months old. Uh, it was so lovely to just hang out with her. Like for my sister, it was, you know, a release because she finally didn't have to watch her, and Uncle Joey got to watch her. And I wanted to have every single second with her, just to be able to like be with her and interact and bring my brain back into that type of feeling oriented movement in the world, that you can tell there's not much access to thinking about everything. It's really just like present moment interaction with the world. And I think it's very freeing. I think we can learn a lot from children, putting ourselves back into those places of slowing down, of not having a sense of time as much as possible, and being in that free flow of experiencing. And that for me is what God is very often, of just going out somewhere in the forest, not having a direction, and just meandering through and exploring and experiencing life as it comes by. Obviously we can't do that all the time, because there's very important things that we can do and create a productive world, but balancing those two together with not shooting all over myself and not making life too serious. So I think I can definitely be thankful for that's something that I like to harness more and more, and there's always new ways to do that.
That's beautiful. And I love you using the word should. And I'm going to suggest the word I've been using for many, many years now is could, because words are very powerful and energies in every word. And that's why even our names are so important. Our full names carry an energy, and our birth names are so important, because our birth names are given to us from the time we land in this planet, and we say, oh my goodness, what have I done? I've arrived.
Judith, we lost you
Sometimes
again.
our lives can be very challenging.
Maybe try turning off your video and only use your audio. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it looks we're freezing. Judith, could you turn off your video maybe? We're thinking that might help, possibly. Okay, maybe we'll just keep going.
Yeah, you got anything that
going
builds on top? Oh, there we go. Yeah, Judith, turn off your video and see if the audio works by itself.
If I do that, I might lose you. Just a second.
No, just the video, stop video button.
Okay, just a second. Okie dokie.
There you go. Now go ahead.
Now, can I keep talking?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Well, I was just commenting on the fact that the word change is very important in these times as it relates to the words we use, whether should turned into could. And so when we talk about words and vibrations and names, everything carries energy. And so when we look at the word could, are you still hearing me? Okay.
Yes.
So I could change the dial, and I could change my screen, because I have young people working.
And we lost you again.
Now again, is my voice still being heard?
It is now, but it keeps going away.
This is so you see, voice is everything. And so what we're talking about is letting go in these times to old ways, to become little children, and to play with spirits playing with us today, to teach us how to fly by the seat of our pants, teaching a grandmother how important it is to keep her voice coming, at the same time as the elders keep listening to the young people and the unique challenges they're going through in parenthood of today, where the families that are so blessed to have uncles like Joey and aunts like my daughter, it's not easy raising children in these times. And so I just want to put a prayer of gratitude out there to modern parents of today, and to the ones that are wise enough to know that maybe they're not meant to be parents, they're meant to be present uncles and aunties, because we're one family here, and we need all the help we can get to honor those little children, teaching us to become like little children again. The load on earth is heavy now. We're carrying many burdens because change is hard. It does not come easy. But together, we can unpack all the luggage of pain and trauma that may have affected us up to now, and we can begin to see that in conversations, we are not alone. There is goodness in people's hearts that's yearning to come out to play, to have fun, and to meet each other, and to have these spontaneous conversations, whether they're on internet, or whether they're in circles in our own communities, or whether they're in our families, to honor that these are challenging times, but in these times, there is a presence much bigger than ourselves. And that to me is the energy of light and love. And so every time we meet and we light those fires of authentic, real, genuine, spiritual relationship, we're beginning to see that technology, spirituality, and science are coming together as a new universal humanity is awakening in each other, that there isn't just fear on the planet Earth, there is something much more powerful. And that is the power of love. And we are seeing it in the little children. They're here to remind us why we have all come. So anyone like to build upon that?
I really love what you're saying about honoring who we are in terms of, parenting and not parenting. And I feel like this is also related to what came up for me when you said that. I don't remember if I've ever shared this or not, but I'm actually not the person who birthed my daughter. Believe it or not, I just kind of was part of the process. So I'm married to a woman, and my wife chose to be the birth, be the way for our child to come into the world. And the reason for that was because I did not feel comfortable going through that process myself. And she, meanwhile, was very much like, I really, I would love to have a child. I would love to have this experience. She was so excited. And I kind of looked at her like, I don't really know why, but okay. I don't really want to go through all, like, I was thinking of the negative aspects, the pain and the challenges of it. And she was only focused on the joy. She was only focused on the joyful outcome of like, no, this is like, we get to create this new life, this new partner in our family. And like, this was just like overflowing with joy and energy of that. So I actually had been feeling quite often, I often go back to this thought of like, feeling bad, feeling kind of guilty, like, well, why didn't I want to go through that process? Am I weird? Because other women go through it. This is a natural process. It's a natural thing. Mothers' biological clocks tick all the time, and they talk about that. Like, what's wrong with me that I don't want to go through that process? And then here you are saying, like, well, we get to honor those of us who are meant to do this and those of us who are not. Just because I didn't physically birth our child into the world doesn't mean that I don't love her with my heart and soul. And I was there in the hospital at the birth. I was like through the whole process. So I was still very I think spiritually, energetically connected to her, and am very thankful for her and love her as if I birthed her, even though I didn't physically, and I'm like, there's a piece that comes with that, of knowing the role of, I get to be the supporter, not necessarily the birther, the creator, but I get to be the supporter and have that input of, how do we want to do this? How do we want to create this? And what factors are we going to consider? And there's a whole process, and I won't go into the process that of actually creating life, but it was very interesting to go through it from my perspective, and being that in that supportive role. So I just want to thank you for bringing that forward, because I think that actually just hearing you say that gave me a sense of peace, of like, hey, it's okay to honor my desires of where I feel I fit into the role of the family, of the world. Here's my place. So thank you for that, Judith. You kind of opened up a new thing for me today.
Well, thank you for your story.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because that's the story. Not everyone's meant to give birth to babies. We are meant to be mothering, all of us, fathering, all of us. Do you realize how many children all over the planet need to have caring, loving beings present? We don't need to be bringing forth new babies. The earth has enough babies. In fact, we all have inner children that need love and nourishment and appreciation and acknowledgement. And the more we can bring that love forth without having to bring more babies, That's a great teaching moment we just brought forth. And thank you from the depth of my heart for sharing your story. That's powerful. And Isabel, I saw you applauding. I don't know how to put a hand, it's golden up there, but well done, Isabel. Would anyone else like to comment? Isabel, would you like to add a few words?
Yes, thank you. I didn't want to interrupt, so I raised my hand. Yeah, I just listening to your story, Kim, and tying it back to the theme of being grateful and what we've been talking about, how relating it to children, it just, the connection I make between all of that is that children are born and they don't have to be taught how to love and be grateful. They don't have to be taught how to live in joy. They're just automatically, naturally tapped into joy and are constantly living from that space. Of course, if they are in a supportive and nurturing environment. But it's something that we don't have to learn. And it's so interesting because then we become parents and aunts and uncles, or, you know, however we relate to kids in whatever role. And then we're told that we're supposed to teach them how to be happy and successful adults as they grow up. And I totally agree, Judith, that they are our greatest teachers. And something that has made me sad lately is, you know, I've been thinking about my own life and how I've been slowing down, and that feels so good. But just realizing also that, you know, where's the joy? Where is that effortless, easy joy that is, you know, available to us at all times? And I think that your story, Kim, really just was a reminder that we're creating our joy based on our, you know, taking our freedom to have it, and that certain roles, really sometimes roles that we're imparted or given as kids, teach us that we're, you know, we have to work, we have to be here, we have to go, we have to produce, we have to, and we forget that we're free to tap into that at any time. And I hear my partner in the background, so I'm going to mute myself now. But thank you for listening.
Well, thank you so much, because that's exactly what this is all about. Learning to live from joy and rejoicing that we are one universal human family, and we're on the planet and we're learning. And the children are coming and they're reminding us of who we are. The greatest resource on planet Mother Earth now are human beings. Human beings beginning to uplift each other's hearts, and in good ways, doing the dance of singing and dancing and drumming. When we feel bad, dance and begin to, we are the ones we've been waiting for. So I'm not sure if you're still hearing me, but I'm going to actually switch. Thank you. Switch to Let Us Rejoice next month, because that's exactly what the theme is. And I want to personally thank Unity Church in the States. They have been connected with me on a wonderful journey of my life and healing and self-help and work programs over the years that help many people to begin to understand that in as much pain and trauma as we have, we also have joy. And so if we can find a place that unites us with people that we connect with, and we can be present to each other in ways that are real, this is the joy we've come to live, to be real with each other in ways that we know we really are the ones we've been waiting for. So I just want to thank you all and remind you that we're meeting again on December the 19th, just before we celebrate this wonderful holy time of the arrival of a very special child that has been reminding the world for thousands of years that we are the love and light of the world. So thank you all for coming. And I see Kim is back again. And Kim, would you like to have any closing remarks, or a prayer, or Joy, would you like to have any closing remarks before we remind people that these conversations they can share with their friends who may have low periods in their life, and if our conversations can help raise their spirits, that they know they're not alone, we are one. And in that oneness, we are connecting in new ways using science, technology, and human beings bringing out the best in each other. So Kim, would you like to make some closing remarks? And Isabel, thank you so much for joining us today and having your voice heard as well. And I just also want to thank the other ones that were able to come today, because together we are the ones we've been waiting to meet. So Kim, would you like to bring a closing to this program, and Joey to also add your closing words? Thank you all so much.
Absolutely. It's just been it's always a joy. Every month is always a joy coming and connecting with each of you. And I love seeing the people too who come in and share their energy. So, Isabel, Natalie, Buddy, thank you guys for jumping on and just holding the space with us and being present. Because even when you're not speaking, we feel your energy. So it's helpful and meaningful to be on these calls. So, in closing, I would just say take a moment, if you can, each day to breathe in your heart space, do a little tiny bit of meditation, and figure out something that you're thankful for. There's always something. There's always something to be thankful for. Even if you have the most horrible day you've ever had, like terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, if you've ever read that book. Um, Even if it's one of those days, you can be thankful that you're breathing, right? You can be thankful that you got some sleep maybe the night before, that you woke up and you're awake and you're still with us, and you're still a soul shining that you can share with the people around you. Or maybe you see someone walking by and you smile at them. You can be thankful for that, because you don't know what that could do to someone. Is sharing a smile could be everything for them. So that's what I have in closing. Just be the light and be thankful for at least one thing every day. I know you can do it. Just do it. Just do it. And share with us. We can help hold you accountable. If you need a buddy, we're happy to do that for you. So yeah, that's what I got. Thank you for all. You're all just amazing. Amazing to be here.
Beautiful, Kim. I'll add on to that too, because I felt very, very similar. Seems like playfulness, joyfulness, thankfulness are kind of the themes that came out of today. And I would add to that that it's something that we have a choice to be, more than I think we understand, and that oftentimes we can inject these things into our life in the same way as Kim is saying, is take a moment to find out what you are thankful for, no matter how big or how small, and pause your life for that moment when you're doing this, and I actually allow yourself to feel it inside of your body. Because our mind and our body is kind of a time machine, right? Like literally sitting down for a meal and not having a podcast or the phone going at the same time, or a TV going or a radio going, literally just sitting down and eating and being thankful for having food, for having water, and allowing yourself to like have your attention focused specifically on the meal, what it feels like to eat, what it feels like to be nourished, the pleasure that your body has from salivating from the food and being able to nourish yourself, that not everybody has access to. And I think slowing down in moments like that are very helpful, as well as like we've talked about it, being out in nature and stepping outside and feeling the breath. I'm currently in Tennessee when I'm normally in Colorado, and Colorado is a high desert, so it's very dry. It's a very non-humid environment. And so coming here to Tennessee, the humidity is about 30% higher. So most of the time, I'm actually don't have my attention on how good it feels to breathe fresh air. But every once in a while, I tap in and I can just feel the fullness of the air, where it's actually like hydrating me at the same time, versus being in Colorado where I feel like I'm being dehydrated because it's so dry. And that 30% difference is so pleasurable when I actually make the choice to pay attention to that sensation. And I feel like it feeds my body in a way that it doesn't if I don't pay attention to it. So I guess what I'm saying here in a nutshell is like, you have the ability to be self-sovereign in the control of your attention, and choose to find more places in your life where there might actually be joy and gratitude and pleasure, that it's available, but we just haven't found it yet. So use that curiosity in your life to find those places in your local environment as you're living your life, where you can feed yourself and charge your battery in ways that maybe you never knew you had access to. That's something that's helped me the most in finding those little things that are good, that help us to move forward. So I know we're here on time. Would love to see you all next month, December 19th. Same time, same place, same link. And it's been lovely and a pleasure being with you all. Thanks for the great conversation.
And thank you all, and have a wonderful month ahead. And I love the idea of giving thanks and prayers of gratitude for everything we have in our life. That is the richness of living from our higher selves. But when we're giving that thanks, let's send it out to the world at large. And as Joey just said, there are many people on our planet right now that need to have the balance of humanity's greatness to come through, so that we create this new world that yearns to emerge through all of us and through all the children on planet and Mother Earth. May they feel the love of all of us, and the love and the light and the richness of spiritual food coming, and physical food, for all children of our planet deserve the balance of life to be lived on Earth.
Okay, and with that, we're going to close
To all
out. We lost you for a second, Judith. So it looks like you're still frozen. So
You ended on a smile, a frozen smile. That's good.
Yay! So we're gonna close it out. Thank you all for joining us. We're gonna stop the recording and join us next month, and we will see you next time. Bye for now, everybody.
Bye for now.
Take care.